Compared to Americans, Brits have a real habit of saving money, playing safe, and being smart with their money. In reality, the UK economy is stealing from your piggy bank every single day. Look, UK inflation averaged 9.1% in 2022, the highest in 40 years. Inflation is still around 3 to 4%, above the Bank of England's 2% target. And your average savings account now pays between 4 to 6%. But these are still losing money in real terms due to everything getting way more expensive. Now, this has been going on for years, so you can't just sit at home and hope the government's going to fix it, because they've proven time and time again that the party doesn't matter, the Prime Minister doesn't matter, and all that matters is the system is pretty much built to keep you where you are, until now. So in this video, we're going to look at how the UK steals your money, how the government tricks you into feeling safe, secure, and what the wealthy are doing instead, and how you can beat the system. So the UK steals your money in a few different ways. Inflation's obviously the massive one. It erodes your cash because £1,000 saved in 2019 has the buying power of about £820 today. But the UK obviously mashes you in other ways too, because they haven't increased the tax bands over this period. So while inflation is way, way higher, the tax bands should have increased by the same amount too. This is also while they want to tax you more. And the tax isn't directly on you, because they're not looking to increase income tax, but they're actually taxing you on employers' national insurance. If an employer has to pay more tax effectively to employ you, then they're going to be less likely to increase your salary. That is a tax as well. Now, the other thing is that income is taxed so heavily. Now, I have an economic viewpoint that we should not tax capital or income, but we should tax unimproved land value. It's called Georgism, and I would absolutely say to just put it into your YouTube bar and have a watch of Georgism 101 after you finish watching this video, not before, because it basically suggests that taxing income and capital is massively unproductive and creates huge distortions in the economy, whereas taxing the unimproved value of land actually is the best and most productive tax, because then it encourages people to build on it to actually make a profit on that land. Now, how do business people and corporations take advantage of the tax system? Well, if we look at the income tax system, the basic rate is 20%, the higher rate is 40%, and then the additional is 45%. And most normal people earn money as income. However, dividends are taxed far, far less. And this is kind of to make up for that risk shortfall, in which people who are building a business are indeed taking on more risk. They don't get statutory sick pay. They do not get things like, pay time off, for instance. And so there has to be some give and take. However, the taxes on dividends are still high, in my opinion, as well as the tax on corporations being too high and also too distortive as well. Now, what I see all the time are banks advertising cash ISAs. However, you will never see a piece of bank research on a certain stock. I don't understand why this is, because the opportunity cost of investing in a cash ISA versus being invested in, say, an index fund is massive. Even the FTSE over the last couple of years, which hadn't done too well until the last 9 months, would have returned so much more than being invested in a cash ISA. So they have to factor in the opportunity cost as a massive, massive risk of being invested in cash/savings accounts. Now, the average ISA rate in 2025 is 3.5%. That is ridiculous. Inflation right now is 3.7%. So you're literally down money this year if you've been invested in the average cash ISA. And it goes without saying, the cost of living spiral is, quite frankly, battering everybody. You go into Waitrose or Sainsbury's or whichever supermarket you go to, for one bag of shopping, you're probably spending 50, 60 quid. If you're going for a family of, say, 4, easily you're spending maybe 150 to 200 pounds. It didn't used to be like this. UK grocery prices rose 25% between 2021 and 2023. And actually, they're up in the last data print as well for inflation. Then if we factor in rent costs, which seem to be what most younger people are doing these days, not many are actually buying anymore, it's hit £1,262 per month in 2025, which is up 8% on the year. And I guess the reason people accept all of this is thanks to that sort of illusion of security. If you're going out and venturing out and doing something by yourself, actually the hardest thing is to get that first sale, get that first contract. And I think earning a steady wage each month absolutely gives you security. However, the potential to earn more by taking on different risks is actually far, far greater. Having a job, having a pension, having savings, they're all marketed as safe. But the reality is that the UK state pension is at £11,502. By the time many of us retire, that triple lock, which is linked to inflation, is likely going to go, because these are effectively unfunded liabilities in the UK's balance sheet. The pension age is also rising to 68 by 2040, which actually isn't keeping up with life expectancy. And this is while the median salary is 35 grand in 2024, which barely covers London rent and bills. Slightly higher in London, is at 37.5. Banks literally keep telling you to save, but this is a guaranteed loss against inflation. We need to understand this. So if the system is so crap, and by system I mean UK economy, what are the wealthy people doing? Because 20% have 64% of the country's wealth. That's not by chance, although it is slightly in line with the Pareto principle. The wealthy obviously own assets, property, businesses, stocks, alternative investments, all of these kind of things. Then they obviously use tax rules as well, which touched on dividend taxes being from 8.75% to 39.35%, which is naturally lower than income tax bands. But we've also explained the reasons as to why this is, because the risks of starting a business are so much greater than being employed. Then comes all the sort of additional benefits of running a corporation or limited company. You can expense certain things, your car, travel, office costs. And so that is naturally reducing your overall cost burden. On you as a person, that is. Now, even having been invested in the FTSE on an average return of 7.5% since 1984, this still beats inflation over time. Now, if we focus on London house prices, they're up 70% in the last decade, while wages have grown 30%. This strategy doesn't work for normal people anymore. Telling you to stick your money in an index fund, basically a basket of the top 100 companies in the country, or the S&P 500, the top 500 in America, isn't the best idea anymore, because we need to grow wealth at a faster pace. We need to juice those returns. Now, telling you to buy a house is insensitive because of this as well. I hear many boomers say, oh, if you stopped eating avocados or you stopped going out every Friday, you'd be able to buy a house. Listen, Joan, you bought a house when it was about 2 or 3 times your salary in 1974. I don't care about your interest rate either that you keep saying you paid 18% on, because that was actually written off against your income tax until the year 2000. You lying boomer. Different times then call for different measures. So here's how to beat the system. You need to go from a saving mindset to an investing mindset. Get rid of investing being risky. Investing is the #1 productive thing that you can do. And those people who are already wealthy are doing this already. It's probably how they got most of their wealth, actually. Get more active. Have a system in which allows you to make decisions, not just park your cash in the S&P. Although that is okay for most people, but we don't want to be most people. We want to do better than most people. Think Warren Buffett. Now, we don't have the same capital as him. However, he's done very simple things over the last 70 or so years with very little turnover of what he invests in. You know, he bought Coca-Cola, Geico. He naturally is one of the biggest investors in Occidental Petroleum. And so these positions he's had for many, many, many years. He's not day trading. He's not intra-week trading. He's holding positions for decades. Now, we don't necessarily have to hold positions for decades, because we are not trying to become a big shareholder on the board of a business and actually influence things. What we are looking to do is to find those key trends in hot sectors alongside holding some of our cash in the S&P 500, so our volatility and P&L is smooth, and we are looking for that outperformance over 1 to 5 year timeframes. Not below that. I'm not telling you to trade. I'm telling you to take a strong view on the market, underlined by a strong system that identifies these opportunities and then proliferate. Make sure that you are taking the optimal profit out of all of that by also optimizing and systemizing your risk management. Making decisions on a monthly, not a daily basis allows you better compounding and actually better control over what you're doing, because you're playing with the fundamentals. You are not playing with the noise of the market. So I guess the takeaway is that the UK economy is absolutely fucked, and it's also designed to bleed your money away, that you don't really have to play that game. I'll be making more videos like this to bring awareness to the truth behind the UK economy. And if you're interested in learning how to become an investor, I have posted a few videos on the channel covering this topic so far. If you enjoyed this, please do sub, please do like, please do comment. Even if you disagree with me, I do not care. I want to discuss things with you. I'd love some feedback. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video.